Once again, thoughts on Matthew 21 and Mark 11, and this time Luke 20 also includes this, where the scribes, Pharisees, chief priests came to Jesus, and they said, "By what authority doest thou these things, and who gave thee this authority?" They were, I guess, expecting him to say God, and Jesus wasn't going to tell them that because they would have taken him right then. And his time was still not yet come. We still got a few days before the Passover, which is why the Passover exists. The Passover was ordained to represent Jesus' sacrifice, and Jesus died on Passover. But he wasn't going to tell him yet because that moment hadn't come yet. The baptism of John, whence was it? He said to them, "I'll tell you if you tell me. I'll tell you what authority I do these things if you tell me." Was the baptism of John of heaven, from heaven, or of men? And then it's interesting because each one of the passages it says, "And they reasoned among themselves." They reasoned with themselves. And then, same thing down here. They reasoned with themselves. And then here also. They reasoned with themselves. Why didn't they ask God? Because they weren't concerned about God. They were concerned about their own thinking. The only thing they wanted to care about with God was to convict him of calling himself God or answering to God to do the things that he does, which, doesn't make any sense. But nonetheless, that's what they were looking for. They were for their own motives, So they reasoned among themselves. Every time in the Bible somebody says they reasoned among themselves, it happened with the disciples. It happened with David a couple of times when he was in a bad way. He said within his heart, he said within himself. And every time you see that, that's no good. You've got the Son of God you're asking this question to, and then you're still going to talk to each other. Of course, they didn't believe he was the Son of God anyway, but the disciples did. They confessed, yet they reasoned amongst themselves. But then it's also interesting here because, they start reasoning and they say, well, if we say it was from heaven, they'll say, why did you not then believe him? But if we say of men, we fear the people. Where does it say here? They don't fear God. They fear the people. It says, they feared the people. And again here, all the people will stone us. Hey, who do you fear? Him that can kill the body, or him that when the body is destroyed also has the power to cast into hell? See, these guys got the Lord with that simple question, allowed them to judge themselves.